This is going to be a rant, so just a heads up. The topic I'm going to go into today has to do with fandom spaces and why I am going to forever gatekeep my favorite game. Now, just a heads up, I am not pointing fingers at the games. I'm not pointing fingers at any games. I'm pointing fingers at the fandoms and the fan base, alright? I understand that games are results of creative labor, and people who make it are generally very passionate. It's just the fans, the people who are consuming it, is the part that I have issues with. The reason why I decided to make this was because about a week or so ago, on Tears of Thema's Twitter, you may have seen this, is a tweet, or rather a reply, in a thread that says that Tears of Thema's gameplay was dull card slop, and the OP here is basically comparing it to LAT's Love in Deep Space's gameplay, right? Which has, real-time combat. Now, what was the original post that this person replied to? Well, it was a tweet showing how Love in Deep Space, a game that is catering towards women, are outperforming all of these waifu games of MiHoYo. And rightfully, a lot of people pointed out that, hey, Tears of Themis exists, and it's an otome game. It focuses on attractive men. This was what the one person who was replying to it, saying Tears of Themis, and then we got this reply. Now, the response to this, rightfully, a lot of people were very upset. So my reaction to this was generally the same as everyone else. I don't think it's a fair comparison, and I don't think it's a valid comparison, because the battle system with the cards is not the main focus of Tears of Themis specifically. It's about the story, it's about the art, and it's about the characters. There's just so much difference between the two games that even this comparison is not really valid. Sure, you can compare them in aspects of story and their characters, sure, but this is just unfair. This is just not valid at all. The battle system with the cards is not the main focus of the game, like I've said. That's why they don't try to make it engaging or extremely exciting. It's mostly meant to be like a roadblock for you in your progression. That's mainly it. It's like when people compared Genshin's old animation versus Honkai's Star Rails, and there are people saying like, oh, Genshin animations are really short and they're not really that exciting or pretty. And that's not a valid comparison because these are two very different types of games. Genshin is real-time, Honkai Star Rail is turn-based. And you better believe that if an old animation were to last like 1 second longer, people would rage quit because they can't clear the spiral abyss in time. So yeah, basically the comparison was just so strange, it's odd. And back to the poster right here. It's pretty clear that they said that the game wasn't fun because they think that the battle system is bad. I don't understand. These are otome games. Most people go to otome games looking for story. People generally don't judge otome's, level of enjoyment and how fun they are based on their battle system. People usually judge them based on story and, character. Who goes to an otome looking for RPG elements? It's just so strange. Of course, no hate to the original poster, but they really try to not really defend their point, but just try to avoid the issue by saying that, well, they think the story is fine, but the battle system is just bad. But it's pretty clear that they lean very heavily on RPG elements when they're talking about games that are meant to be story focused. I'm gonna go a bit broader and talk about fandoms nowadays. People used to say that, oh, fandoms back in the day were weird and quirky, but now everyone is in a fandom and everything is toxic. I was too young to even notice, but yeah, I can see their point. And there's also like a difference between Western and like Eastern fandoms. Whereas most of the people who were around for a long time, or like, people from the East side, the Chinese, Korean, or like JP communities, I'm not trying to generalize here, but it's the vibe that I get from being in these communities. People generally know the rules, and they don't really just speak their minds and try to bash the media they're consuming in every way. And people just respect each other's opinions. There's no such thing as ship wars. Even if there were, they would be very much shut down. And going back to Tears of Themis, I really, like many people playing this, want this game to be noticed and want it to be, regarded as equals to the other games. Because it's a good game in its own right. But at the same time, one of the biggest reasons why it stands out so much, to me at least, is that the fandom is very nice. The atmosphere is really chill. I've been in bigger fandoms like Genshin and Honkai Star Rail. I've heard people say that Lats is like an exception in the otome space now. Like, it's more Genshin than it is other otomes, which is, it's really big. It's really popular, and at this point, it's mainstream, and there's a lot of normies in it. And those bigger fan base tends to be a lot more toxic, and people are a lot more hateful towards each other and each other's opinions instead of just focusing on enjoying the game. Again, as much as I love for Tears of Themis to be more popular, to get more attention, I will gatekeep this game till the day I die. Because I do not want what is happening on those bigger games to happen here. So yeah, that's basically it. If you want to, you can check out my other content. I don't actually do these sorts of like live drama covers. Anyways, I guess I'll see you later. Bye bye.